Hello, and welcome to today's midday meditation. Today we're going to contemplate this idea of space, in particular, the space between planting and harvesting. And it's a beautiful time of year to do that, as in spring and the beginning of summer season is often when we plant. And so I think today's contemplation is particularly relevant seasonally, but I think it's also very relevant as we think about the mental, the emotional, the toll of stress and overwhelm in our lives. So we are here and we are getting very comfortable in our seat. I want you to really feel yourself in that which is supporting you. And when you're ready, if it's safe to do so, you can close the eyes and simply settle in. Simply settle in. This is the place, this is the time that we together break the momentum of all that which came before, whatever you were doing, and whatever you're doing next. This is that place where we pause. We pause and we reset. And as you pause here with the eyes closed, take a few breaths, really feel that inhale, feel that exhale. And honestly, and I say this every time, if this is all you do in our time together, it is absolutely perfect. The contemplations I add are merely because the mind is often, as we introduce a little bit of stillness, or when we close our eyes, our mind is often seeking that next thing. It's often ready to engage back into activity and movement and motion, and will pull forward memories or ideas, or it will project into the future things that need to be done. And so this contemplation is meant to be a place to settle and to be grounded and at ease. And so I mentioned that I want to talk about this space between planting and harvesting, and this idea, as I mentioned, because it's seasonally relevant, has also been very top of mind for me lately too. And this is not just about gardening. This is about entrepreneurship. It's about, honestly, just life and every area in our life, our health, our relationships, our work, personal growth, and especially our experience of stress. Because most of us understand planting, right? It's taking action, it's making a change, it's starting a new habit, signing up for a class, reading a book, going for a walk, things like a meditation practice. You might be setting a boundary, having that difficult conversation, sending the email, making the appointment. We understand, we really understand planting. And we also understand the end of it, right? The harvesting, where we reap what we have sowed. We understand the result, to feel calmer, stronger, healthier, more organized, more confident, right? There is this beginning that is planting, and then there is the outcome, which is harvesting. But there is this time or this space between those 2 points, the waiting, the uncertainty, the not knowing. It's the part where we planted the seed, but we can't yet see what's growing. And I think that is so particularly challenged when we're stressed. Because stress doesn't just affect our schedules or our energy. It changes our relationship with uncertainty. When we're stressed, we crave calm, we crave reassurance, we want proof and evidence that things are working. We want certainty. We want relief. And when that relief doesn't happen quickly enough, something interesting can happen. We can start to look for that next solution, the next book, the next podcast, the next program, the next planner, the next strategy, the next thing that promises that relief, that calm that we're seeking. And so before we know it, we've become collectors of solutions, of information, collectors of possibilities, right? We're collectors. And we collect these things because we're looking for or seeking a particular outcome. And that outcome that we're seeking hasn't happened yet with all of the things that we've planted. And it's not because we're lazy or we're doing anything wrong. It's because we truly want that relief. And the uncomfortable is in the waiting. The uncomfortable is in the uncertainty. And one of the ways that we look, another way rather, because collecting is one of the ways that we kind of cope with that uncertainty. Another way that we cope with uncertainty is kind of future dating that calm. So we say things like, when that project ends, I'll feel better. When things get organized, I'll feel calm. Or once I lose the weight, once I retire, once I find the right solution, getting back to that seeking, then everything is going to be okay. But the problem with that strategy is that the finish line keeps moving. And the relief that we're seeking is always just that little bit further ahead, not quite within reach. And this is what I very often see in the women I support who are feeling stressed and overwhelmed and burnt out. It's that searching, it's that trying. It's not, like I said, it's not laziness, although I really dislike that word. It's not procrastination. It's not giving up. It's searching, it's seeking, it's trying, it's working harder, it's collecting more tools. But somehow all of that effort, all of that work leaves you feeling no closer to the calm that you're looking for. And it's overwhelming. And it adds stress. This is like that stress stack I love to talk about. And it's a little bit like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it's growing. Can you imagine doing that? Planting a seed, watering it, then digging it up tomorrow to check, planting it again, digging it up the next day, checking again. Right? When you do that, the seed never has the opportunity to do what seeds are designed to do, which is to grow. And I think we do that so often with ourselves. We interrupt our growth, or we interrupt the natural progress of things because we want relief, or we want immediate proof that we've made the right choice. And so we dismiss the thing that we already planted because, well, it's not working, so I better look for something else. Or the proof is maybe below the ground. We can't see it yet, or it's not dramatic enough, so we look for something else. But we often overlook what's happening or growing or germinating below the surface. Here's what I know for sure. Most of the important changes in life happen quietly. Whether it's a new perspective, a healthier boundary, a deeper sense of self-awareness, a different response to a situation. It might be a little bit more patience, a little more compassion, or more trust. Those things often grow very, very slowly, almost invisibly. And then one day we realize that we're responding differently than we used to. We're thinking differently. We're feeling differently, living differently. And it's only then that we recognize, or maybe it's just when we stop to look or notice, that the something that we were seeking had been growing all along. It might have been growing all along. And so the reflection that I'd like to offer you today is a little bit different. It's different than what you might see everywhere else, although it's not very different than what I offer you here, because I'm going to ask you not to make another list, I'm not going to give you another thing to think about, not another thing to do, but invite you, as I always do, to come back to this pause, to take a breath, and then simply consider, what if there are already seeds growing beneath the surface in my life? And some of the changes that I'm hoping for, some of the relief that I desire, it's already germinating. It's already underway, even if I can't see it yet. And remember that the challenge is often in the waiting. The uncomfortableness is often in the waiting, because we want that reassurance and proof and certainty. And this is what drives us to begin digging, checking, questioning, searching for the next solution, or planting another seed and then another and then another. And so the reflection is that it may be happening underneath the surface. And if that's the reflection, then the invitation I offer to you is to trust. Trust that not everything, every one of those actions, every one of those things on your list to do, not all of those require your constant attention. I want you to trust that growth often happens quietly, and that some of these things that you've planted are unfolding, even though you cannot see the immediate evidence of them. And if you are feeling called to action today, let it be gentle. Not a massive working through of your to-do list, or a massive reconfiguring, re-architecturing, or new plantings of seeds. We don't need to create another project or search for another solution. So if you're going to do any action today, let it be gentle, and let it be attention on one of the seeds that you've planted. One relationship, one habit, one practice, one commitment you've already made to yourself, and simply tend it. Water it, nourish it, support it, and then allow it space to grow. Because the calm you seek isn't something that's waiting for you at the finish line. It's already growing. It's already within you. It's already planted. If you are here, the seeds have already been planted. We just need to trust. Trust the process of the seeds and the germination, and that they are already growing. They are already there. And that is enough. And so thank you so much for joining me today for our midday meditation. And until next time, I wish you a beautiful, calm, sunlit day. And the harvest is already within you, and it's already begun. Namaste.